Welcome, my frightful fiends. I am Dr. Dreadful, licensed in screams, certified in chills, and your personal physician of phobias. You've checked yourself into my clinic of carnage, where the waiting room is filled with shadows, and the only prescriptions are nightmares. Tonight, I've prepared a most dreadful dose of horror, guaranteed to make your skin crawl and your poor little heart pound right out of your chest. So sit tight, keep your eyes glued to the screen, and whatever you do, don't scream too loud. The neighbors might think you're next.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. With Halloween just around the corner, we all love a good ghost story, right? We tell them around campfires, whisper them at sleepovers, and marathon horror movies until the sun comes up. But most of the time, we know they're just stories. We can turn off the TV, leave the campfire, and sleep soundly, knowing the monster isn't real. The story I'm about to tell you, however, isn't from a movie. It happened to a friend of a friend in a quiet suburban town, not much different from yours or mine. And the scariest part, it's completely true. So let's set the scene. It was Halloween night, a few years back. The air was crisp, leaves were crunching underfoot, and the whole neighborhood was buzzing with that unique Halloween energy. Our main character, let's call him Alex, was in his late 20s. He wasn't a huge Halloween fanatic, but he enjoyed the atmosphere. He decided to have a quiet night in, handing out candy to the trick-or-treaters and watching some classic horror films. His house was at the end of a long, dimly lit cul-de-sac, the last stop for many of the kids. Around 7 p.m., the doorbell started ringing. Ghouls, goblins, superheroes, the usual parade of adorable little monsters. Alex would open the door, compliment their costumes, and drop a generous handful of candy into their bags. Everything was normal, cheerful, and exactly what you'd expect. The familiar rhythm of the doorbell, the excited shouts of trick or treat, and the rustling of candy wrappers filled the first couple of hours. But as the night wore on, around 9:30 p.m., the stream of kids started to thin out. The streetlights cast long, dancing shadows, and the neighborhood grew quiet. Alex figured the festivities were wrapping up. He was about to turn off his porch light and settle in for his movie marathon when the doorbell rang one more time. He sighed, grabbing the now half-empty candy bowl, and went to the door. When he opened it, he was a bit surprised. Standing on his porch was a single child, a little girl who couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 years old. She was dressed in a simple, old-fashioned white dress, like something out of a vintage photograph. She wasn't wearing a mask, and her face was pale, almost done naturally so, in the glow of the porch light. She didn't have a plastic pumpkin or a pillowcase for candy. She was just holding a single, small, withered-looking daisy. "Trick or treat," she said. Her voice was a soft, flat whisper that barely carried on the chilly night air. Alex smiled, a little taken aback by her simple costume and somber demeanor. "That's a nice, classic costume," he said, trying to be friendly. "Where's your candy bag?" The girl didn't answer. She just stared at him with wide, dark eyes that seemed to hold a strange sort of sadness. He reached into his bowl to give her some candy anyway, but she slowly shook her head. "I don't want candy," she whispered. Then she held out the withered daisy. "I want to trade." Alex was confused. "Trade? What do you want to trade for?" The little girl looked past him into the house. "I want to come inside for just a minute," she said. "It's cold out here now." A chill that had nothing to do with the autumn. Air ran down Alex's spine. Every instinct, every warning bell in his head started screaming. Inviting a strange child into your home on Halloween night. It felt wrong. Terribly wrong. He tried to rationalize it. Maybe she was lost, or maybe her parents were waiting just down the street. but her stare was so intense, so unnerving. "I'm sorry," Alex said, his voice firmer than he intended. "I can't let you in. But are your parents nearby? Are you lost?" The girl's expression didn't change. The sad, empty look remained. "Please," she whispered again. "Just for a minute. I just want to see what." Alex's mind was racing. He was starting to feel genuinely scared. This wasn't a prank. The girl's presence felt heavy. Wrong. He shook his head again, more firmly this time. "No, I'm sorry. It's late, and you should get home." For the first time, the girl's expression shifted. The sadness in her eyes was replaced by a flash of something else, something cold and angry. The temperature on the porch seemed to drop several degrees. "You should have let me in," she said, her voice no longer a whisper, but a low, chilling hiss that sounded ancient and full of malice. Then she turned and walked away. Not running, just a slow, deliberate pace. She didn't walk down the driveway toward the street. Instead, she walked across the lawn and simply vanished into the shadows between his house and his neighbor's. One moment she was there, a small figure in a white dress, and the next, she was gone. Alex stood frozen in his doorway for a full minute, his heart pounding against his ribs. The wizard Daisy lay on his doormat, shaken. He quickly shut and locked the door, bolting it. He ran through the house, checking every window and lock. The feeling of being watched was overwhelming. He couldn't shake the image of her cold, angry eyes. He eventually called the non-emergency police line just to report a strange child wandering the neighborhood. They sent a car to patrol the area, but of course they found nothing. Alex didn't sleep that night. Every creak of the house, every rustle of leaves outside, made him jump. The next morning, exhausted and on edge, he talked to his next-door neighbor, an elderly woman who had lived on that street for over 50 years. He described a little girl in the white dress. The neighbor's friendly expression faded. She grew very quiet, then told him a story. Decades ago, long before Alex's house was even built, there was an old farmhouse on that land. A family lived there with a young daughter. One cold autumn night, the little girl, who loved picking flowers, wandered out of the house and got lost in the woods that used to be there. They searched for days, but they never found her. The only thing they ever recovered was a single daisy she had been holding, found near the edge of the property. Alex felt the blood drain from his face. The little girl in the white dress, the withered daisy, the request to come inside to the place where her home once stood. It all clicked into place in the most terrifying way possible. He had been visited by a ghost, a lonely, sad spirit still trying to find her way home, and he had turned her away. He never forgot the look of anger in her eyes. He sold the house 6 months later, unable to shake the feeling that he was being constantly watched, and he never spent another Halloween night alone. So this year, when your doorbell rings and you see a lone trick or a treater standing on your porch, just remember Alex's story. Sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones that look the most innocent. Thanks for listening. If you have a true scary story of your own, share it in the comments below. Stay safe out there, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more strange tales. Happy Halloween.